All right, welcome back to the show, everybody, and happy 23rd. It is the 23rd of the month, which means Jordan Day. All right, you guys, we're going to do a reaction to a Jordan video now, and later on, tune back in for the After Dark, and we're going to continue celebrating the legacy of the real 23, the only 23, and the guy we call the GOAT, Michael Jordan. He was the GOAT before we even had the term GOAT. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to do this every single month. We get caught up in all the recent stuff going on in the NBA, and then the 23rd and the 24th rolls around, and it's time to just go back and talk about the things that I love. And I think a lot of you guys feel the same way. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all the positive comments we always get on the 23rd and 24th. Appreciate you guys. Now I know why you're here. Let's check out this video. This is, let's see, this was sent through the members section actually a little while back, and I knew I wanted to save it for this, for the 23rd. So this is from a channel called Rim Rumble. I'm actually not subscribed to this channel, so I don't think I've ever watched a video here, but I will definitely be subscribing if I enjoy it. It's got about 3,000 subscribers at the moment. This one has me curious. It's titled The 7 Levels of Michael Jordan. So let's check it out. Let's see what these 7 levels are. I like Jordan videos that involve numbers. This time it's going to be 7 instead of 3, 6, and 9. So let's do it. Let's see what the significance of 7 is. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Like the vid if you could. Hype the vid, all that good stuff. I'd appreciate it. But most importantly, just thanks for hanging out on the 23rd with me, guys. Let's enjoy this, and here we go.
7 levels of Michael Jordan. At 15, he was cut. At 21, 2 NBA teams passed on him. At 28, critics were convinced he would never win a championship.
Wow.
And at 35, he was untouchable. 6 championships, 0 finals losses. A billion-dollar empire built on one name. But here's what nobody tells you. Jordan didn't just level up once. Each version of Michael Jordan had to destroy the last one. The overlooked rookie, the scoring machine, the playoff failure, the champion, the mystery, the tyrant, the myth. This isn't just the rise of a superstar. It's 7 evolutions, and it's way darker than the highlight reels ever showed you.
Now, what is this, some Star Wars stuff? Is he has to destroy who he was in order to become who he's supposed to be? Just some like Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader's type of lore?
Level 1.
All right,
not
level
trash, 1. Overlooked. Let's start at the beginning, because before Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, he was just Mike, a skinny kid from North Carolina who couldn't even make his high school varsity team.
Yeah, he's Larry's little brother at this point.
Now, here's the thing. The story you've heard, that Jordan got cut, isn't exactly true. He didn't make varsity as a sophomore, sure, but he dominated JV instead. Still, that rejection, it lit a fire in him that would never go out. Fast forward to college, 1982, NCAA championship game. Jordan's a freshman at UNC, and with seconds left, he hits the game-winning jumper. That shot, it was the first glimpse of his clutch gene.
Yep, I agree.
The time, 18.
That's when you knew he was clutch. Not just a high
The world
flyer.
just didn't know it yet. Then came the 1984 NBA draft, and this is where it gets interesting. Houston picked first. They took Hakeem Olajuwon.
And I'll never argue with this. This was a great pick. Hakeem is a great pick.
That makes sense. But then Portland picked second, and instead of Jordan, they took Sam Bowie.
Portland picking a Sam Bowie with a bad leg, and it's the most Portland trailblazer thing I've ever seen. Like, I can't believe they passed up on MJ.
A 7-foot center with a history of leg injuries.
And like the lore goes, I don't care that Jordan was a shooting guard and Drexler is a shooting guard. Put Jordan at point. Who cares?
Why? Because back then, people thought you needed size to win.
Yeah.
A 6'6" shooting guard, that wasn't supposed to be the guy. Jordan fell to third. The Chicago Bulls took him, and immediately he had a chip on his shoulder the size of the United Center. Rookie year, 1985. Jordan averaged 28.2 points per game. He was electrifying, dunking on everyone, selling out arenas. The league had never seen anything like him.
Have we seen a rookie outscore more points on their debut season, on their rookie season, than Michael Jordan? Has there been anyone since?
But here's the problem. Veterans didn't like it. There's this rumor, never fully confirmed, but widely believed, that during the 1984 All-Star Game, Isiah Thomas and a group of older players conspired to freeze Jordan out, meaning they wouldn't pass him the ball. They wanted to humble the flashy rookie. Jordan's response? A few days later, he dropped 37 points on Isiah's Pistons.
I forget to think about it sometimes, but it's also probably payback for what Jordan did to them. You know, the USA versus the NBA All-Stars, when he torched the NBA All-Stars. Like, it was probably a little bit of vengeance for that too. Plus all the attention Jordan was getting was ridiculous in his rookie season, but well earned. Anybody out there who doesn't believe the freeze-out game was real? Because I definitely believe it's real.
And in the 1986 playoffs, Jordan put up 63 points against Larry Bird's Celtics. Still a playoff record. The Bulls lost the series, but Bird said afterward, that was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
At this point, the narrative was clear. Jordan was a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
But could he win? Could a high-flying scorer ever lead a team to a championship?
Yeah, I know, because back then it was the whole narrative. You have to be a big man in order to impact a franchise. And in comes a shooting guard. It was supposed to be impossible. And in fact, he was called a ball hog in the beginning because, you know, the irony is they didn't have a decent big man his entire career. If you think about it, he didn't have a really good big man his entire freaking career. So what else was he supposed to do? You know, Krause never gave him that guy. He never got his David Robinson or Patrick Ewing or even like an Alonzo Mourning or something like that. The best he got was like, I don't know, who's better, Bill Cartwright or Luke Longley? About the same.
The answer
is it Corzine?
Not yet. But the question was planted, and it would haunt him for years. Level 2, the scoring machine. By the late 80s, Michael Jordan wasn't just good. He was unstoppable. 1986 to 87 season, Jordan averaged 37.1 points per game.
Stupid.
The highest scoring average since Wilt Chamberlain. He won his...
This guy puts up 37 points a game and he's talking to the media like, how come no one's noticing my defense? I wonder why, MJ.
First scoring title, then another, then another. 10 total in his career.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a dunker anymore. He was a complete player. In 1988, he won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, the only guard to ever do it. But here's the catch. The Bulls were still losing in the playoffs. Under coach Doug Collins, the game plan was simple. Give the ball to Michael, and Michael would go out there and drop 40, 50, sometimes 60 points in one playoff game. He scored 59% of the Bulls' total points. The problem? Basketball is a team sport, and critics started asking, is Jordan too good for his own team? The media called the Bulls Michael and the Jordanaires. Opponents said he was a ball hog. Isiah Thomas openly said Jordan didn't like to pass. Even Bulls management worried about his shot selection.
There is a problem with what Jordan did in the 80s for his own cause, but this is why I love MJ, because you have so many teams that are tanking nowadays, and honestly, the Bulls kind of wanted MJ and the Bulls to tank in 1986. When Jordan was injured, they wanted to tank and get a good draft pick, but Jordan was gung-ho on bringing that team to the playoffs and you know, doing the best he possibly could. The thing is when he was doing that in the early 80s, all those years, they never got another great draft pick. So he carried the team to the playoffs every single year, and then we get a middle-of-the-road draft pick over and over again. But if he was one of those typical, you know, one-man solo mission stars on a bad team, he would just average a bunch of points. They wouldn't make the playoffs, and they'd get like lottery picks. So it's interesting to think of what could have happened with the Bulls if Jordan wasn't crazy enough to bring that damn team to the playoffs every single year.
And the worst part, they had a point. Jordan was carrying the team on his back every single night. But it wasn't working. The Celtics were too deep. The Pistons were too physical, and no matter how many points Jordan scored, the Bulls couldn't get past the second round. So the question evolved. It wasn't, can Jordan score anymore? It was, can a scoring champion ever win a championship?
Yeah.
Historically, the answer was no. Pure scorers didn't win rings.
Yeah, and at this point in Jordan's career, I think it was safe to say he's the best basketball player most of us had ever seen, but the greatness comes with winning.
Team players did. And standing in Jordan's way, ready to prove that point, were the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, and they had a plan. Level 3, the failure.
Like, I don't know if you guys remember or how many of you weren't around back then, but dude, Jordan's early career, how about until he won a championship, all the narrative constantly was, there was a ton of people always saying, Jordan will never win. Jordan will never win. It's weird to think about because now we know he's 6 for 6, you know, in the NBA Finals. He's that guy we talk about. But back then it was different. Not everyone, a lot. He had a lot of haters, man. So a lot of people were constantly rooting against him and saying he'll never win. There's no way a guy like him could win a championship. And he shut him up 6 times.
If you want to understand Michael Jordan, you have to understand the Detroit Pistons. Late 80s, the Pistons were the most physical team in the league, and they created a defensive scheme specifically designed to stop Jordan.
Yeah, no matter how good one player is on offense, you got 5 defenders like this doing what they're doing. Good luck.
They called it the Jordan rules. Here's how it worked. Double team him on every drive. Force him left. Knock him down, make him pass, and if he gets to the rim, foul him.
You see KD, Booker, these are the videos you need to watch. You need to go back and watch how Jordan learned. Watch Jordan in the early 80s and how he dealt with the double team, because he wasn't very good at it. Then watch Jordan around 91, 92, 93. See what he's doing with the double teams then. That's the lesson. That's all you got to do.
Hard. It was brutal. It was borderline dirty. And it worked. 1988 playoffs. Pistons eliminate the Bulls. 1989 playoffs. Pistons eliminate the Bulls.
Yep.
1990 playoffs. Pistons eliminate the Bulls. 3 straight years, and each time the narrative got louder. Jordan can't win the big one. Pundits compared him to past greats who never won. Elgin Baylor, George Gervin, guys who could score but couldn't lead.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes,
I mean, yeah, it was how modern, close to modern, I guess, like Carmelo Anthony. You know, like that was the comparison, was a guy like Melo, where it's like, dude, yeah, guy can score. Guy can score at will. Can't win. He's not a good leader. That's where the leadership thing comes in, because you think, okay, well, Jordan must not be a good leader. We said the same thing about Kobe all those years of drought between when Shaq left and when Kobe finally won those 2 championships with Pau Gasol. But up until that point, that was the narrative. Kobe's not a good leader. You know, that's why he can't win anymore. You know, he needs Shaq. Shaq was the leader. It's funny. It's funny how it works, though. And most of us say Melo wasn't a good leader. Why? Because he never led his team to a championship. It's high standards when it comes to these greatness metrics.
Things were getting ugly. Jordan was frustrated. He was berating teammates in practice. He even punched center Will Perdue in the face during a scrimmage. The book, The Jordan Rules, later revealed just how tyrannical he could be. But here's the thing. Jordan didn't just get mad. He got better. After the 1990 loss, Jordan committed to a new training regimen. He added 15 pounds of muscle. He started lifting weights, uncommon for guards back then. He wanted to absorb Detroit's punishment and keep going. And in 1989, the Bulls hired a new coach, Phil Jackson. Jackson brought in the triangle offense, a system that required Jordan to trust his teammates and share the ball. At first, Jordan hated it. He called it de-Michaelization.
Yeah, well, because his whole career up into this point with the Bulls was him just running wild. He was a wild dog, you know. Now you had to put that wild dog into some structure. Thankfully, he played for North Carolina. He knows what structure is like. If he would have, if he was in the era of coming out straight out of high school, I don't know if he could have actually embraced the triangle in anywhere near the capacity that he did in reality. But he was able to like get back into gear and be like, all right, this is what it's like to be in a set offense. Let's go. You know?
Slowly, he bought in. And in 1991, everything changed. Eastern Conference Finals, Bulls versus Pistons. Game 1. Jordan and the Bulls swept Detroit 4-0. In the final seconds of Game 4, the Pistons walked off the court. No handshakes, no respect, just bitterness.
Sore loser.
Jordan had finally broken through. But now came the real test, the NBA Finals, and the entire world was watching. Level 4, the champion. 1991 NBA Finals. Chicago Bulls versus Los Angeles Lakers. Magic Johnson, Showtime, the dynasty of the 80s. This was Jordan's chance to prove he wasn't just a scorer, he was a winner. Game 2. Jordan drives to the basket, switches hands mid-air, and finishes with his left. It's one of the most iconic layups in NBA history. The Bulls win the series 4-1.
Yep, gentlemen
Jordan
sweep.
averages 31 points, Finals MVP, and when it's over,
11 assists.
Collapses to the floor, clutching the Larry O'Brien trophy, sobbing. The critics were silenced. Michael Jordan was a champion, but he wasn't done. 1992.
No, he shut half of his haters up at this point. But then a lot of them were saying, well, he can't win 2. Isaiah won 2. Magic got 5. Bird got 3. You know, this is what the talk was after he got 1. And I know he heard it too. I know he knew. He's like, yeah, well, 1's not good enough.
The Bulls beat Portland. Jordan hits 6 3-pointers in the first half of Game 1, then turns to the scorer's table and shrugs. The shrug game. Iconic. 1993. The Bulls beat Phoenix. Jordan averages 41 points per game in the finals. Still a record.
Every video, y'all got to remind me of this, huh?
The defining moment, John Paxson hits the series-winning three-pointer.
Yeah, he did.
Jordan trusted his teammate.
Yeah, we had a defensive breakdown. It was a great play. It was a great play by the Bulls.
Passed,
great
and
shot.
They won 3 championships.
And then don't forget the great block by Horace Grant to KJ for... That was the last second shot trying to push it to a Game 7. KJ had a mid-range right down to center around the free throw line, and Horace Grant savagely blocks the hell out of him. Series over. 3-peat for the Bulls. Oh, man. We had 2 TVs on at the house at that point.
In 3 years. The first 3-peat since the Celtics in the 60s. Jordan was on top of the world. Endorsements, global fame, the dream team in Barcelona. He was the biggest athlete on the planet.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. The media started digging into his gambling habits. A $57,000 check to a golf partner. Late-night trips to Atlantic City before playoff games. Whispers of a darker side. And then, in July 1993, tragedy struck. Jordan's father, James, was murdered, shot in his car on the side of a highway in North Carolina. Michael was devastated, and 2 months later, he shocked the world. He retired. Level 5, The Mystery. October 6th, 1993. Michael Jordan, at 30 years old, at the peak of his powers, announced he was retiring from basketball. The desire isn't there anymore.
It literally was the peak of his powers. I mean, if you look at the Bulls' record in 93 and stuff, the context is missing because of how tired they were. It's the third straight championship they were going for, and he just came off the Olympics as well. Exhausted team. But skill-wise, man, Michael Jordan had it all at this point. He had it all, plus a lot of athleticism left. You know, he still jump out of the building whenever he wanted. But he had those fundamentals now that I praise about his second 3-peat so much. He had them by 93. You know, his post game, unstoppable already in 93.
Said, I have nothing left to prove. The sports world was stunned. Why would the greatest player alive just walk away? Some said it was grief. His father's death had broken him. Others pointed to the gambling investigation. The NBA had launched an inquiry into Jordan's habits, and even though Commissioner David Stern said Jordan did nothing wrong, the timing was suspicious. Conspiracy theories exploded. Was Jordan secretly suspended? Did the league force him out to protect his image? To this day, no one knows for sure. But here's what we do know. Jordan signed a minor league baseball contract with the Chicago White Sox. That's right, Baseball. He played outfield for the Double-A Birmingham Barons, hit .202 with 3 home runs. Sports Illustrated ran a cover that said, "Bag it, Michael." Critics called it an embarrassment. But Jordan didn't quit. He worked.
Yeah.
He improved. He even strung together a 13-game hitting streak in the Arizona Fall League.
Yeah, he put in the work.
And then, in March 1995, he sent a 2-word fax to the media.
Yeah, guess what he didn't do during that time? He didn't start a podcast and complain about people. The media, everyone was torching Jordan for this. Not me. I was whatever he wanted to do, I was cool with. I was watching whenever I could. I would try to watch him play baseball. It's like, whatever, dude. You know, he was my favorite athlete, so I'll watch him play football. I don't care, you know. But no, the media was destroying him during his run with baseball, which I always thought was unfair. You know, like, he just started his baseball run, and everyone is critiquing him harsher than, you know, they would like a seasoned pro. You know, like a Mark McGuire or like a Barry Bonds. It was ridiculous. Just because of how famous he is, they tried to rip him down. But guess what? Jordan never complained about it. He never cried about it. He kept working. And everybody he played with said he was improving at a ridiculous level. Like, if he wanted to, and he would have stuck to it, if it wasn't for the strike, basically, and Jordan stuck to it, he could have actually been a really good baseball player. But we'll never know because the strike happened.
Back. The return was electric. Arenas sold out instantly. TV ratings exploded. In his 5th game back, Jordan dropped 55 points in Madison Square Garden. But the comeback wasn't perfect. The Bulls lost in the 2nd round to Orlando. Jordan, wearing number 45 instead of his retired number 23, got stripped by Nick Anderson in a key moment. Anderson quipped, "45 isn't 23." Jordan switched back to 23 mid-series. The NBA fined him, but the message was clear. He wasn't done, not even close. Level 6, The Tyrant. 1995 to 96 season. Jordan's first full year back.
This should be called revenge.
He came back with a vengeance. The Bulls went 72-10, the best record in NBA history at the time. Jordan won MVP. And in the finals, they beat Seattle. Game 6, Father's Day. Jordan collapsed to the floor, sobbing, clutching the game ball. He dedicated the win to his late father. It was emotional. It was redemption.
It still gives me cheers. Not cheers. It gives me chills that all these years later, when The Last Dance came out, we saw the footage with the audio in, with him just weeping on the ground with the ball. Wow, man. I'll never forget that moment. Like, I was in disbelief. Like, the sound adds so much context to what is going on in that moment. It was just crazy. Speaking of which, my favorite Jordans. I want to get them back. I want to get them back someday.
But it was also just the beginning. 1997 Finals, Game 5, the flu game. Jordan was sick, severely dehydrated, could barely stand, but he went out there and scored 38 points, including the clutch three-pointer that sealed the win. Years later, it came out that it wasn't the flu. It was food poisoning from a bad pizza in Utah.
Pizzagate.
Some even speculated he was poisoned on purpose. Sick or not, the image of Jordan leaning on Scottie Pippen as they walked off the court is burned into NBA history.
It's funny, too, because LeBron fans, you know, MJ haters, I'll get it, and there'll probably be a couple in this comment section, too. Look around for it. Everyone, all LeBron fans say Jordan was drunk. He was hungover. It's like, I don't even get why that's, like, where? How? What's your proof? Who said anything about anybody drinking that night, you know?
But behind the scenes, Jordan was becoming something else. A tyrant. He punched Steve Kerr in the face during practice. He constantly berated teammates. Scott Burrell, Will Perdue, anyone.
I didn't see any of these guys asking for a trade.
Who didn't meet his standards. Judd Buechler,
Buechler? Okay, AI. It's Bushler, or Bushy, as we used to call him back in the day.
His teammate said it best. People were afraid of him. The fear factor of MJ was so thick. Jordan's leadership style was brutal, but it worked. 1998, the last dance season. The Bulls were falling apart. GM Jerry Krause had decided it was Phil Jackson's last year,
What an ass.
no matter what. Scottie Pippen was feuding with management. The team was a powder keg, but Jordan didn't care. He wanted one more ring. Finals, Game 6, Bulls down by 1. Jordan strips Karl Malone, dribbles up the court, pulls up over Brian Russell. Swish! 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs,
6.6
0
on the clock.
losses. Jordan posed in his follow-through as the ball went through the net. The perfect ending, except it wasn't. The Bulls were dismantled. Phil Jackson was fired. Pippen and Rodman were traded.
And that's the thing everyone's got to remember, but everyone always forgets. They get mad at Jordan for coming back. But this, to you as a fan, this was the perfect ending to Jordan's legacy. But not to him. He wanted to defend his title. He never got an opportunity to do so. It didn't sit right with him.
Jordan retired again. But the story wasn't over. Level 7, The Myth. September 2001. Michael Jordan, at 38 years old, announced he was coming back again. This time for the Washington Wizards.
What a month, man. 9/11 happens, and Jordan's coming back. Wow. What a time.
Awkward. Jordan wasn't the same. He averaged 20 points, which is great for most players, but for Jordan, it felt mortal. He had flashes. A 51-point game at 38.
Yeah, he had a broken rib, too.
40-point games at 40 years old. But the Wizards missed the playoffs both years. When he retired for the third and final time in 2003, the Wizards owner didn't even give him his front office job back. Jordan was essentially fired. It was a messy ending, but it didn't matter. Because by then...
Yeah, let's be real. Jordan got done dirty there. They got all the publicity of Jordan being involved, all the publicity of Jordan's comeback, and then once Jordan was done doing his job, thank you for your service. You're no longer needed here. That was effed up. That wasn't the deal.
Jordan wasn't just a player. He was a myth. 2009.
And that's why I'm sorry, man. Screw the Wizards.
Hall of Fame induction. Jordan's speech was salty, petty. He called out old rivals, even mentioned the high school coach who cut him. Some people loved it, others thought it was ungracious.
Yeah, I know that divided us for sure. I'm on the side of I love it, just because it's the most Michael Jordan thing I've ever seen in my life. But I understand how some others would have liked him to make a more proper and typical scripted type of speech where he just thanks everybody. He did thank a lot of people. But he also told a lot of people, I told you so. But then he also said, thank you for adding fuel to the fire. It's a complicated one. But, man, I'll tell you, if anyone's talking about a Hall of Fame speech, it's usually this one. Because this one is it's something special.
Pure Jordan. Competitive to the core. And then, in 2020, The Last Dance documentary dropped. 10 episodes.
April 19th.
Jordan's career. The 1997...
Wow. So pandemic hits in March, April. So the very next month, they did not hesitate. So the world shut down, and then within weeks, here comes The Last Dance. And wow, we were all talking about it nonstop. Every episode that dropped was everything. That's all we needed.
The 98 season. Behind the scenes.
The irony is no one was watching the actual NBA when it came back in the bubble. The ratings were terrible, but everybody tuned in for The Last Dance.
Footage. It became a cultural phenomenon. A new generation discovered Jordan, his greatness, his intensity, his ruthlessness. But it also reopened old wounds. Scottie Pippen said he felt like a prop in Jordan's story. Horace Grant called the doc 90% BS. Jordan had controlled his narrative, and in doing so, he'd cemented his legacy. 6 rings, 0 finals losses. The greatest of all time. But at what cost? So here's the question. Was it worth it? Jordan sacrificed relationships, privacy, peace of mind. He became a myth, but lost parts of himself in the process. And for those of you watching who want to be great at something, anything, Jordan's story is a warning as much as it is inspiration.
Yeah.
Greatness has a price, and not everyone is willing to pay it. But if you are, if you're ready to go all in, to evolve through every level, to become something more than human, then maybe, just maybe, you'll understand what it takes to be like Mike. If you want more breakdowns like this, the real stories behind legends, the levels of greatness, the truth behind the myths, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment and let me know. Which level of Jordan do you respect the most? And which one scares you? I'll catch you in the next one. Until then...
That was a good video. The thing he said at the end, that's the thing that sticks out the most. If you want to be that great at something, you have to sacrifice. And it's true, and that's a hard sacrifice because you might want to be great at something, but say basketball is your dream. You want to be a great basketball player, but you might also want to be like a good father, and you want to be a good husband, and you want to be a good friend and a good son, you know? And you want to have like a balanced life, but you can't have all those things if you're going to be that great at one thing. You have to dedicate yourself 100% to that one thing. And that's something that I know separates a lot of us from guys like Jordan, you know, and Kobe, because Kobe was willing to sacrifice everything in his personal life for that, you know, striving for that greatness. But that's what really separates everybody. It has to become an obsession, and that's why you hear all these greats in any sport talk about it as though it's an addiction, it's an obsession, because they have to be obsessed with it. They have to be addicted to it. If not, they're going to let everything else in their life distract them. You can end up like a Kevin Durant and being obsessed with Twitter, for instance. You know, so much that you have multiple accounts and you're just like constantly commenting. You're commenting on your own comments with burner accounts. You know what I mean? Like that's a different type of addiction. His addiction is trying to like spin the narrative, while Jordan's addiction was I'm going to spin a narrative, but I'm going to do it on the court. So if I'm going to do it on the court, I need to be great. If I'm going to be great, I can't get distracted. I have to put in the work constantly, and he did it. So, yeah, I really think that's what separates the real greats from the pretty good players in any sport that's ever existed. And not just sports, I can say the same with music, too. You know, you're not going to be a great guitarist, for instance, if you're not obsessed with it, if you don't love it. You could be a good guitarist, you know, and that goes for any instrument out there. You can be good, but you're probably not going to be great. You know, you have to be obsessed. And even if you are obsessed, it doesn't mean you're going to be great, but you need that in order to have a shot. But anyways, here's me rambling about greatness. Anyways, I'm out of here, you guys. Thank you for watching. We will continue celebrating Michael Jordan in the After Dark. I hope to see you guys there, and I hope to see you guys in the comments, as always. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. All right, like the vid on the way out if you could. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And most importantly is to be water, my friends. Peace out.